Hello everyone, in this section we are talking about predicting. So your topic is predicting and your goal is I can predict the products of a synthesis, decomposition, and combustion reaction. So you notice we're not going to actually talk about all the different types. Today we are just focusing on these three. So how do we predict? First, we need to know what type of reaction it's going to be. So just as a review, if it is a synthesis, it's going to start off with two elements. If it's decomposition, you will start with one compound. And for combustion, only has C, H, and O. So you don't need to type these out. It's just a little brief review. Okay, so here, how to predict synthesis. Step 1, write the charge for each element. Step 2, crisscross the charge. Step 3, write that compound as your product. And step 4, balance the reaction. So, synthesis practice. Our first practice problem we're going to do together, we will do, let's pull up table.com. Let's do Na plus S. What's our arrow? So step 1, write the charge for each element. I'm just going to do this underneath it on your piece of paper or scratch paper, whatever you're working out the problems on. I would just do it on it. So Na, if we look at our periodic table, just as a review, if it's in this first column, it's a +1. Second column is a +2. Skip the transition metals. +3. Carbon column is ±4. Nitrogen column is -3. Oxygen column is -2. Fluorine column is -1. Okay, so if we look at sodium, it's in this first column, so it has a +1 charge. So +1. S, so let's find S on our periodic table, is in this column, which would make it a -2 charge. -2 charge. So now for step 2, crisscross the charges. That means this +1 is going to go to the S, and this 2, whoops, and this 2 goes with the Na. So our compound would be Na2, and that's a subscript. S1. Now remember, you don't have to put the ones if you don't want to, but you can. So Na2S, and we did that. That 2 goes to the Na, that 1 goes to the S. Okay, step 3, write the compound for your product. So we did. And then step 4, balance the reaction. So we do that. We have Na and we have S. I don't know why it keeps making this up. NaS. So we have Na and S. So on this side we have 1 Na. On this side we have 2 Na. On this side we have 1 S. On this side we have 1 S. So here we need to make that Na equal 2. So we'll put a 2 in the front. Now, and that'll make the Na2, and everything else is still balanced. Now, you don't have numbers in front of the other compounds. If you want to, you can put a number 1, or you can just leave it as it is. So this is how you predict synthesis compounds. How to predict decomposition. Step 1. Write out the elements that make up the compound in the reactant with a plus in between. Step 2, if it's a diatomic or if it's in this list, because we talked about diatomic elements last unit, if it's in this list, you need to put a 2 as a subscript, and then step 3, balance. So, decomposition practice. Do NaCl. So we have one compound. Step 1 says write the elements and put a plus in between. So we have Na plus our second element is Cl. Second step, if it's in this list, put a 2 subscript. So let's see if Na's in the list. Nope. So we just leave it alone. Let's see if Cl's in the list. Yep, it's right there. Cl. So that means we will put a 2 as a subscript. And then we need to balance Na and Cl. So on this side we have one Na. On this side we only have one Na. On this side we have one Cl. On this side we have two Cls. So our Nas are balanced, so let's look at the Cl. Here we have 2. So that means we need to put a 2 in front of here to make Cl equal 2, which means that will also change Na. So now we have 2 Na. Well, now Na is not balanced. So let's look over on this side. What can I put in front of Na? What times 1 will equal 2? And that is 2. So now it is balanced. How to predict combustion. Now this one has a lot of steps. Step 1, write H2O and CO2. Those are your products. You don't have to do any crisscrossing. You don't have to look at any list. If your reactants only have H, C, and O, if it is a combustion reaction, every single time your products will be H2O plus CO2. Once you've written those down, you will balance your reaction. So if we do a practice of this, so let's do C2H4 plus O2. Make those subscripts. Alright, and then we will have our yield sign. So here we know it's a combustion reaction because it has C, H, and O. So we just need to put CO2 plus H2O. And those are subscripts. That's it. Now we just need to balance. Now with these, combustion reactions can tend to be a little bit harder to balance than all the others. The trick is, if you have an element like oxygen here on this side that's in more than one spot, save that for last, because most of the time it'll kind of work itself out and it'll make your math not as difficult. So on this side for carbon, we have 2 because of that 2 subscript. On this side, we only have 1. On this side for hydrogen, we have 4 because of that subscript. And on this side, we have 2. On this side, we have 2 oxygen. Over here, we have 2 oxygen right there, plus 1 oxygen. So that means we have 3 oxygen on that side. Okay, so for carbon, we have 2 over here and 1 over here. So if we put a 2 in front, that changes our carbon to 2. But that's also going to change our oxygen. Now we have 2 times 2, which is 4. Plus that 1 oxygen over on the H2O, so that means we have 5 oxygen. Okay, hydrogen. Here we have 4. Here we only have 2. So what can I put in front? What times 2 will make us have 4? Well, that's a 2. So now we have 4 hydrogen, but that also changed our number of oxygen. So here we have 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 2 oxygen, so that's 6. So over here, what times 2 equals 6? What can I put in front of O2 to make it equal 6? That's a 3. So now we have 6 oxygen on both sides, and our reaction is complete. So in your digital notebook for this, you have 2 examples of each. You have 2 synthesis. Here, you will just erase whatever is in this box where it says insert products. You'll put the right products. I put these blanks here, so if you need to put a number in front to balance, you can. You have 2 decomposition and 2 combustion. While you're working on this, I would recommend make sure you go through the steps that you wrote down in this video to make sure you are following the correct steps for the right reaction to get the correct answer. If you need me to check your answers or if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to help.